Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally.
On the balcony?
On the balcony.
High above?
Like 15 floors. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was up there.
You come back to your hotel room with your 2 bodyguards, you open the door, and Suge is there in your room.
Yeah.
With like 5 guys.
Yeah.
What happens next?
I saw that they all had guns.
Yeah, he's nobody to mess with.
Imagine making it big in the 90s, riding high on your hit song, only to end up on Shoog Knight's bad side. Crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to Vanilla Ice, and whether he missed the memo or just didn't see it coming, one intense moment made sure he never crossed that line again.
And walked away alive.
When Vanilla released Ice Ice Baby, word was that Suge had approached him for some favors, but one thing led to another, and Vanilla was suddenly looking down at his life from 15 stories above the ground. Now, if you know anything about hip-hop, you know Shoog Knight was not the guy to cross. From some of the most heated feuds in rap history to his notorious ways of getting what he wanted, his reputation was legendary.
This is a serious major gangster.
Yeah, he's nobody to mess with.
I think the guy is a serious major gangster.
At the age of only 30.
And his run-in with Vanilla Ice, that was just the beginning. But to really understand what went down, let's get into it. Back in 2001, Vanilla Ice was still riding the wave from his massive hit Ice Ice Baby. And let's be real, that song wasn't just popular, it was historic. It was the first ever hip-hop track to top the Billboard charts, pulling rap into the mainstream in a way nobody had seen before. His album To The Extreme didn't just do numbers, it dominated. It shot straight to #1, stayed there for 16 weeks, and moved 2 million copies in just 5 weeks. Critics had mixed feelings, but Entertainment Weekly gave it a solid B, praising Ice Ice Baby and a few other tracks. And he wasn't just making sales, he picked up 4 American Music Awards along the way. But of course, not everyone was celebrating his success. That's where Mario Chocolate Johnson comes in, a Texas-based songwriter who worked with Vanilla Ice early on. And let's just say, he wasn't too happy. Chocolate claimed he wrote almost 9 songs for Ice, including Ice Ice Baby. Yet when the album blew up, his name mysteriously vanished from the credits.
He said he wrote Ice Ice Baby at 16. He didn't write no parts of that song. And he really believed it. So imagine that. He lies. Like, every song I did on that album, he credited.
To make matters worse, he only got paid for 6 tracks. And here's where things take a turn. Chocolate's new manager, none other than Shoog Knight. At this point, Suge wasn't the industry giant he would become, but he was already handling business. He had just secured Chocolate $400,000 advance from a music exec. And since Suge was taking a 25% cut, he wasn't about to let any unpaid dues slide. So when he heard Chocolate had been shorted, he decided to handle it personally. Meanwhile, Vanilla Ice, completely clueless. He was in California working on new music, totally unaware that Suge was keeping tabs on him. And according to his DJ, Ice had a habit of grabbing beats straight from the studio and writing over them, so the debate over who actually deserved credit was already a messy one. But Suge, oh, he'd already made up his mind. The first time Suge and Vanilla crossed paths, it was casual. They ran into each other at a restaurant in LA, had a quick chat, and that was it. Ice had no idea who Suge was. He thought it was just a random intro.
I'm going to Benihana's for dinner, and I sat down, I order, and then before the food gets there, we had our appetizers there. This big guy walks up, he says, "Hey, I'm Shoog Knight." He says, "Let me talk to you for a minute. Ice, if you got a second, let me just talk to you." I says, "Okay." He didn't give me an explanation or anything at that point. He just says, "Hi, I'm Shoog Knight, and I'm just nice to know you." So I didn't even think much from it other than that was, why would somebody come in and sit down and say hello to me just to introduce themselves?
But 3 weeks later wasn't so casual. Ice was back in LA, eating at another restaurant when Suge and his crew rolled up. And this time, Suge didn't just sit down, he helped himself to Ice's food. No hesitation.
At a restaurant?
Yeah.
And he was friendly?
Yeah.
Then he pops up on you again at Benihana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, relatively
some
friendly.
Of my food too.
Did he start eating your food?
Yeah, he asked.
Ice's bodyguard immediately felt something was off. This wasn't just a coincidence, but Ice had shrugged it off. That same night, Ice decided to catch up with his old friend Chocolate to show him some new music. What he didn't know, Chocolate was still fuming about the missing money, and now he had Shoog Knight in his corner. So when Chocolate told Suge about the meetup, Suge decided he was coming too. And not just him, he brought backup. When they got to Ice's hotel, he wasn't there, no problem. They let themselves in and waited. Ice got a call from Chocolate saying he was at the hotel. Excited, Ice wrapped up what he was doing and headed over thinking it was just a chill music session. But the second he walked into his room, the vibe was off. Instead of just Chocolate, he found himself face to face with an entire squad, looking like a full football team in full gear.
2 bodyguards, you open the door, and Suge is there in your room
Yeah.
with like 5 guys.
Yeah.
What happens next?
I saw that they all had guns right away. Be fucked with, but they're very well dressed and smelled good. And they were all smiling and saying they're huge fans. And they want.
One of Ice's security guys instinctively reached for his weapon, but before he could do anything, Suge's crew shut that down real quick. One of Ice's guys even got slapped, leaving him standing there shook.
Roughed one of my bodyguards up. They roughed everybody else in my whole.
Stood up and he got slapped down.
He slapped the bodyguards.
Oh yeah.
Himself or one of his guys?
I hate to tell you, he slapped him so hard, made him cry. My bodyguard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Took his gun out of his. They took his guns from him too.
Then Shoog got straight to the point. He told Ice they needed to talk on the balcony. So Ice's security escorted him over to where Shoog was waiting. Balcony doors wide open.
Like to talk to me on the balcony, alone. And I said, oh, okay.
And then straight to business. Shoog nodded toward the edge. Look over the balcony. Ice hesitated, but what choice did he have? So he stepped forward and looked down. 15 floors up.
Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally.
On the balcony?
On the balcony.
High above?
Like 15 floors. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was. I needed to wear a diaper on that day.
And that's when Shoog made things crystal clear. You're gonna sign these papers. He pulled out a contract and laid it all out. Chocolate hadn't been paid, and they were there to collect. Shoog wanted 4 points off Ice's royalties, which at the time was worth somewhere between $3 to $4 million. Ice didn't argue, he didn't hesitate. He signed the papers and later said, "I left there alive."
Who is Mario Lavelle Johnson? His name is listed.
That's the guy that Shoog Knight brought over there that was an acquaintance of mine that had nothing to do with that song.
You signed over the rights?
Signed over the rights to him. So
How much were those points worth?
About $4 million, $3 million, anywhere between there. $3 to $4 million.
You just signed them?
Signed him. And walked away alive.
And just like that, Shoog Knight secured the money he needed to build his empire. Not long after, he founded Death Row Records, a label that would change hip-hop forever. But to really understand why Ice didn't put up a fight, you have to know the lowdown of exactly how dangerous Shoog Knight was. In 1992, Death Row was taking off, but with Shoog running things, there was always a dark side. One day in the studio, Dr. Dre invited 2 up-and-coming rappers, Linwood and George Stanley, who probably would have ended up with cooler stage names, to come lay down some tracks. For them, it was a dream come true, until Shoog Knight walked in. At some point, Linwood picked up the studio phone to make a call, but there was a problem. This was Shoog's phone, the one he used to stay in touch with Harry O in prison. Shoog wasn't about to risk missing a call, so he told Linwood to hang up. Linwood, either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid, snapped back, telling Shoog not to drag him into his gangster nonsense. Big mistake. Shoog, without a second thought, fired 2 shots into the wall just to make a statement.
A phone in the studio, I guess a Solar Records studio.
The red phone, yeah.
The red phone that he would call to speak to Suge or whoever else at Death Row to basically overlook his operation. You know, those guys, the producers who ended up, talking on the phone, and then Suge ended up pistol whipping him. That was all over that same phone, and all goes back to the hair.
Then he made the 2 wannabe rappers strip to their underwear and gave them a brutal beating, just to drive the fear in deeper. To top it off, he took their IDs, making sure they knew he could find them if they ever thought about snitching. And yet, despite knowing exactly what Suge was capable of, they still went to the cops and pressed charges. So, what did Suge do? Oh, just classic Shoog Knight. He bribed the prosecutor's daughter with a record deal, and just like that, the case vanished. The prosecutor, Larry Longo, lost his job, and Suge walked away without a scratch, but that was just business as usual at Death Row. Chaos and fear were all part of the deal, and if you thought the label's headquarters was just some fancy music office, think again. Buried within those walls was something infamous for all the wrong reasons, the Red Room. Word on the street was that if you wanted a contract with Shoog's powerhouse label, you had to prove yourself, and talent wasn't enough. One guy thought he was walking in to sign his big break, but Suge had other plans. The rules simple. If I don't like it, you get beat. And before the poor guy, could even get a word out, fists were flying, and he was getting absolutely wrecked. As his influence grew, he crossed paths with Dr. Dre, who was unhappy with his deal at Ruthless Records. Shoog saw an opportunity and promised Dre a better deal, but there was one problem. Dre was still under contract with Eazy-E and Jerry Heller. That's when Shoog did what Shoog does. First, he tried paying Heller a friendly visit at his office, but when he wasn't there, Shoog made 2 of his employees crawl on the floor and bark like dogs. Then when Eazy-E agreed to a meeting, he didn't get Dre. He got Shoog and his crew instead, and from there things only got crazier. Shoog Knight wasn't playing around. He straight up threatened Eazy-E's family, and that was enough to force them into signing an agreement to release Dr. Dre from his contract.
Suge had dudes hiding in the closet under the bed, and when he get up there, Suge locked the door. All these cats come from under the bed and out the closet in the bathroom with guns.
NWA knew they were dealing with a serious problem, so in a full-blown panic, their manager Jerry Heller hired 2 massive weightlifting champions as bodyguards, hoping they could handle Shoog's brand of intimidation. Spoiler alert, they couldn't. 1995 hit with yet another wild chapter. Eazy-E died, and Shoog's reaction? Pure, unfiltered disrespect. He did an interview where he mocked Eazy's death in a way that sent chills down people's spines, even suggesting something way darker.
So they got this new thing out there, people sell them all the time. They got this stuff they get blood from somebody with AIDS, and then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that
seems
bad.
That's a slow death.
Yeah.
Eazy's own son and former manager Jerry Heller were convinced that Shoog had something to do with it, and Heller later admitted that if he could go back, he would have let Eazy take Shoog out before things ever got this crazy.
Eazy wanted to kill Shoog himself. He just wanted to kill Shoog, and Jerry talked him out of it.
What's going on here? And Eazy said, "You know this guy Shoog Knight?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I'm going to kill him, and I think I should kill him." And I said, "Let me think this." I said, "Let me think this."
Shoog wasn't done stirring the pot though. There was this big-time manager, Happy Walters, the guy behind House of Pain and Cypress Hill, who somehow got into a nasty dispute with Shoog. Now, normally you'd expect some legal threats, maybe a diss track, but nah, this went full gangster movie. 1 minute, Walters was at an ATM, and the next, gone, vanished. All that was left was his wallet. For 3 days, nobody knew where he was, until he suddenly reappeared in Long Beach, barely able to walk, disoriented and covered in burns, like someone had been putting out cigars on his skin. Oh, and his head, completely shaved like some kind of twisted warning. When the cops questioned him, he stayed silent. No names, no details, nothing. And the second he recovered, he cleaned house, firing a bunch of artists from his label, like he got the message loud and clear. Stay far, far away from Shoog Knight. At the Source Awards that same year, he got on stage and took a direct shot at Puff Daddy, igniting an already dangerous East Coast-West Coast rivalry.
Artists out there want to be an artist, they want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing.
And that tension? It boiled over on September 23rd, 1995, when Shoog's close friend and bodyguard, Jamal Big Jake Robles, was shot and killed outside a club after a violent altercation between Death Row and Bad Boy affiliates.
I remember at one point, Shoog's homie gets killed in Atlanta.
Jake.
Yeah. You knew him?
Yeah.
Friend of yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big Jake.
And Shoog, he pointed the finger straight at Puff Daddy. Then things took another wild turn. Somehow a Bad Boy affiliate ended up at a Death Row party, and Shoog, being Shoog, decided that this was the perfect opportunity to get some answers. And by get some answers, I mean he and his crew jumped the guy, beating him down while demanding to know where Puff was. The whole situation was spiraling out of control. And then Kelly Jamerson's death. Kelly Jamerson was at an exclusive invite-only party thrown by Death Row Records, and the tension in the room was already thick. Rival groups were in attendance, and everyone knew things could pop off at any moment. As the night went on, an argument broke out between Jamerson and several Bloods, allegedly tied to Shoog Knight's inner circle just as the event was winding down. Snoop Dogg and his crew, the Dog Pound, had just wrapped up their performance, hyping up the crowd, and were making their way out when chaos erupted on the dance floor. People started scrambling as a full-blown fight broke out. In the middle of it all, Jamerson was jumped, hit with chairs and bottles, stomped out right there in the club. One witness later claimed that Shoog Knight just stood by watching it all go down and even egged it on, shouting, "Y'all get that ninja." Jamerson was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but it was too late. He died around 12:45 a.m. the next day, September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas, Nevada. Tupac and Shoog touched down for the big Mike Tyson fight, but before heading to the event, they swung by a party. That was where they ran into the Southside Crips, a notorious Compton gang that had been at odds with Shoog Knight's mob Pyru Bloods for a minute. This was the same crew tied to Keith D, the guy Diddy had allegedly reached out to for protection through Eric Von Zip when the East Coast versus West Coast beef was at its peak.
Be elected to, let's align ourselves with these street guys, with Zip. And then through Zip came Keefy.
Yeah, Zip and Keefy were the ones that had the relationship.
If you knew anything about these guys, you knew they didn't shy away from trouble. And Tupac, he was about to learn that the hard way. So when they felt disrespected by one of them, they didn't hesitate. They swung first. They dropped Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, one of the most feared names out of Compton, right there in the middle of the casino.
Atney shirt, along with Marion Shoog Knight, who's a large man in a brown suit, punching and kicking Orlando Anderson.
Orlando had just been embarrassed in front of everybody, and there was no way he was going to let that slide. Fast forward a little, Tupac and Shoog were on a high, wilding out at the Tyson fight, talking trash, amped up. Tyson took the win, and Pac rolled out with Shoog Knight hopping into Shoog's BMW 750. They were cruising down the Vegas Strip when a car pulled up beside them, and just like that, it was over.
He's coming up from me going, got to the light. He was going to go drink and smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He's hanging out the window like he was, yeah, he was.
So what happens next?
And we just came, and shit. I ain't gonna go into the details like that, you know what I'm saying?
Shoog Knight, as the CEO of Death Row Records, had a well-known habit of bringing gang members into the fold, mainly from different blood sets like Mob Peru, Looters Park Peru, and Fruittown Peru. One of those guys was Aaron Heron Palmer, a Mob Peru member just like Shoog, who worked as his bodyguard.
I ain't never had a job before in my life until I started working for Shoog. In and out of jail, you know what I'm saying? Did a little bit of everything, you know what I'm saying? Now
On September 7th, 1996, Palmer was right there at the MGM Grand when things popped off. Alongside Shoog, Tupac, and several other Mob Peru Bloods, he took part in the beatdown of Orlando Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip who had attacked someone from Shoog's crew a few months earlier. Anderson just happened to be at the MGM that night, and once Knight's people spotted him, it was on. That same summer, there was already bad blood brewing inside Death Row. George Williams, a former Death Row bodyguard, got fired by Shoog for not returning 2 company cars he had borrowed. Not long after, he barely survived an attempted hit, shot in the buttocks when a group of Death Row bodyguards allegedly tried to snatch him up. After that, Williams linked up with Roderick Cardale Lil Rod Reed, a Fruittown Pyru member and known enemy of Shoog. The two of them were rumored to be behind several retaliatory murders of people close to Shoog over the next few years. Fast forward to June 1st, 1997, Palmer was driving home after a Death Row Records party at Gonzales Park in Compton. He stopped at a red light, and that's when a van pulled up behind him. 2 men jumped out and unloaded on him. Palmer didn't make it. He died from his wounds right there. After getting out of prison, Shoog stayed deep in the drama. He even managed to get into a beef with Eminem. Yes, Eminem. According to Eminem's former bodyguard, Big Nas, their first encounter happened at the 2001 Source Awards, where Slim Shady got into a heated argument with guys wearing red shirts. When he asked what was going on, he got the answer, "That's Death Row." The message, Shoog was still making sure people knew who ran things.
Approached him at the 1999 Source Awards. The way they had it set up, the bodyguards could not sit with their artists. Of Dr. Dre. Dre left Death Row. Shoog didn't like that. Dre getting back on. Got this white rapper that's and was cut off on his way to a seat. And all these guys in red shirts.
And it didn't stop there. Allegedly, Shoog even tried to harm Eminem at a concert in Hawaii. The moment M's plane landed, they were met by 20 police officers warning them that Shoog's guys were waiting. By the time 2008 rolled around, Shoog Knight's downfall wasn't just beginning, It was in full unstoppable free fall, and things were getting messier by the minute because, let's be real, the guy was already known for living on the edge, but this time he took things to a whole new level of insanity because not only did he get himself arrested on drug charges and aggravated assault, but the specifics of what actually went down that night absolutely unhinged. Picture this: the cops roll up and what do they find? Suge in the middle of a full-blown violent meltdown, literally beating a naked woman while gripping a knife like some sort of real-life movie villain. And of course, the legal system had plenty to say about that, slapping him with charges for assault with a deadly weapon, drug possession, and domestic violence. But in true Shoog Knight fashion, did he sit in jail and face the consequences like a regular person? Nope, not a chance. He just threw down a cool $19,000 for bail and walked right out like it was just another Tuesday. Jump ahead to 2014, and somehow, against all odds, against all logic, against the kind of life choices that would have had most people 6 feet under years ago, Shoog Knight managed to survive getting shot not once, not twice, but a staggering 6 times.
Shoog Knight. Shoog Knight. Shoog Knight's in the car. Shoog Knight's in the...
He was taken to the hospital, went under the knife. Still, as if he had some kind of supernatural ability to shake off life-threatening situations like they were minor inconveniences, he made it through. But did he use that near-death experience as a wake-up call? Maybe decide to turn things around, work on a fresh start, or at the very least cooperate with the police to bring whoever shot him to justice? Of course not. This was Shoog Knight. And if there was one thing he never did, it was talk to the cops. So, as usual, he kept his mouth shut, let the mystery hang, and carried on like nothing happened. But just when it seemed like things might settle, chaos came knocking again. This time in the form of the Beverly Hills robbery, where Suge and his crew were accused of jumping a photographer, stealing their camera, and roughing them up in the process. And just like that, his downward spiral kept going, because in Shoog Knight's world, the drama never really stopped. In January 2015, Shoog was arrested for murder. Witnesses said that on January 29th, outside a burger joint near the Straight Outta Compton film set, Shoog got into a heated argument with 2 men, Terry Carter, a longtime friend, and CLE Bone Sloan, a former gang member. The argument escalated and Shoog got into his pickup truck. Instead of driving away, he ran them over. Carter didn't make it. Sloan barely survived. The next day, Shoog turned himself into the LAPD, claiming it was all an accident. He was just trying to escape a violent situation.
Breaking news out of LA, a music industry mogul under arrest after a deadly hit and run. Shoog Knight, a hip-hop figure who's had run-ins with the law in the past, is being held on $2 million bail, accused of...
His lawyer argued that Shoog never intended to K-word anyone, but the evidence didn't look good. Then in 2018, the final nail in the coffin, Shoog Knight was sentenced to 28 years in prison. He took a plea deal for voluntary manslaughter, getting 22 years plus 6 extra years because of California's 3 strikes law.
Yeah, Marion Shoog Knight, Jeff, pleaded no contest in the courthouse behind us here, and today he was sentenced to nearly 3 decades.
And just like that, the reign of Shoog Knight finally came to an end.